It will be realized that what I call the attitude of reasonableness, or the rationalistic attitude, presupposes a certain amount of intellectual humility. Perhaps only those can take it up who are aware that they are sometimes wrong and who do not habitually forget their mistakes. It is born of the realization that we are not omniscient and that we owe most of our knowledge to others. It is an attitude which tries, as far as possible, to transfer to the field of opinions in general the two rules of every legal proceeding. First, that one should always hear both sides, and secondly, that one does not make a good judge if one is a party to the case. I believe that we can avoid violence only insofar as we practice this attitude of reasonableness when dealing with one another in social life, and that any other attitude is likely to produce violence, even a one-sided attempt to deal with others by gentle persuasion and to convince them by argument and example of those insights we are proud of possessing and of whose truth we are absolutely certain. We all remember how many religious wars were fought for a religion of love and gentleness, how many bodies were burned alive with the genuinely kind intention of saving souls from the eternal fire of hell. Only if we give up our authoritarian attitude in the realm of opinion, only if we establish the attitude of give and take, of readiness to learn from other people, can we hope to control acts of violence inspired by piety and duty. There are many difficulties impeding the rapid spread of reasonableness. One of the main difficulties is that it always takes two to make a discussion reasonable. Each of the parties must be ready to learn from the other. You cannot have a rational discussion with a man who prefers shooting you to being convinced by you. In other words, there are limits to the attitude of reasonableness. It is the same with tolerance. You must not, without qualification, accept the principle of tolerating all those who are intolerant. If you do, you will destroy not only yourself, but also the attitude of tolerance. All this is indicated in the remark I made before, that reasonableness must be an attitude of give and take. An important consequence of all this is that we must not allow the distinction between attack and defense to become blurred. We must insist upon this distinction and support and develop social institutions, national as well as international, whose function it is to discriminate between aggression and resistance to aggression. I think I've said enough to make clear what I intend to convey by calling myself a rationalist. My rationalism is not dogmatic. I fully admit that I cannot rationally prove it. I frankly confess that I choose rationalism because I hate violence, and I do not deceive myself into believing that this hatred has any rational grounds. Or, to put it another way, my rationalism is not self-contained, but rests on an irrational faith in the attitude of reasonableness. I do not see that we can go beyond this. One could say perhaps that my irrational faith in equal and reciprocal rights to convince others and be convinced by them is a faith in human reason, or simply that I believe in man. If I say that I believe in man, I mean in man as he is, and I should never dream of saying that he is wholly rational. I do not think that a question such as whether man is more rational than emotional or vice versa should be asked. There are no ways of assessing or comparing such things. I admit that I feel inclined to protest against certain exaggerations arising largely from a vulgarization of psychoanalysis of the irrationality of man and of human society. But I am aware not only of the power of emotions in human life, but also of their value. I should never demand that the attainment of an attitude of reasonableness should become the one dominant aim of our lives. All I wish to assert is that this attitude can become one that is never wholly absent, not even in relationships which are dominated by great passions such as love. Footnote. The existentialist Jaspers writes, "This is why love is cruel, ruthless, and why it is believed in by the genuine lover only if it is so. This attitude, to my mind, reveals weakness rather than the strength it wishes to show. It is not so much plain barbarism as an hysterical attempt to play the barbarian." End of footnote.